God, he's the elephant in the room. It always comes back to Randle because Randle's on the team. He's getting 30 minutes a night. And if he's getting 30 minutes a night, that's another guy that occupies that prime real estate. So then what do you do, Jeremy? What do? You tell Jeremy, you tell Julius to go home and take your ball and leave? He's still their best offensive creator on the team right now until we see a little bit more of what we saw from RJ tonight, which is insane because he's not good at it. But God.
I was puzzled why he was in the lineup down the stretch. Because, Detroit's pretty much taking out all of their best players.
Yeah.
It's a preseason game. Why do you have Julius Randle there? You sub Obi Toppin in with 1 minute and 4 seconds left. For what reason?
But don't we know that answer? Because isn't he trying to figure out what works around Randle? Doesn't he look at Randle as like, all right, this is the best you gave me? Sure. I guess I got to figure it out. They need Randle. I can't believe I'm saying that, but they do. No, seriously, disagree.
I get where you're coming from.
Disagree with me.
No, we're certainly well above the belief of cutting him because that's still just not a solid option or a plausible one whatsoever. But the idea of finding the right role for him, and he's just, he's not a starter for a winning team. We know that this isn't going to be a winning team, even if he's starting or not. But that's why I would be so curious as to seeing how he would fit in with that second unit. Because if you've got DSJ in his playmaking and how he's forcing balls into ridiculous spots and errant passing and doing too much with it, like tonight he got tripped up because he got double teamed as he was trying to do some sort of crossover. And the shot looks fine. But again, the bar for that was so low that it's nice.
It looks better.
Right, exactly. In comparison is what I'm getting. But yes.
Yeah.
So
low bars here.
Right. So, it's that sort of thing where you're going to have to play Randle, and you're probably going to have to play him 20 to 25 minutes because that's simply who he is and his presence on the team. And you have him on the team and you can't get rid of him right now. So it's just finding that role of who he fits around well. Like he had positive minutes with Mitchell Robinson under the Mike Miller era. It was, somewhat brief, but that idea of if you're going to maybe have Mitch come off the bench, and just quickly on Mitch, I agree, played really nicely in game one. Game two is very different story.
Up and down.
Yes. The thing about, obviously I think he drew 1 foul per every 3 minutes and he was playing 12 minutes, which if you do the math, that's 4 fouls, commits the 5th foul directly under the Knicks basket when Detroit has the ball. But he did a great job of staying in the game for the last 7-8 minutes before he get checked out and Noel came in. And I thought that was nice that, you could see that he was really conscientious because he had to be, but consistently keeping his hands up, not forcing anything. That was really great to see.
Yeah.
But if you're able to match Randle and Mitch together and have some sort of bench action, because Randle, I know, will be able to obliterate fours that are coming off the bench. Unless, of course, the sixth man is a great four, in which case it will be a different story.
You're
but
right.
If he can take advantage of inferior players, that's only going to make him look better. And this is coming from me, the person who said, well, I would love to see Obi starting. There's the opportunity of if you start Randle, it's like, are you lowering his value by dropping him down a spot, by putting him on the bench?
I don't.
And now I'm wondering
value though.
Right. But now I'm wondering, are you losing value? Maybe you can actually gain value by saying, look, this guy can carve out a nice role, expensive, of course, but with the expiring money coming back and whatever it might be, you can find a spot for him on a team. It just has to translate to winning, and you have to have the right players around him. And
so here's the issue. Let's play this game, okay? He goes to the bench. Obi starts, right? With whatever, Noel or Mitch. I honestly don't think it really matters. Alongside, let's say, Burks and RJ. Your starting point guard is still Elfrid Payton, right?
It is.
So your spacing is still not great, because at the rate he's going so far, teams are going to let Obi take all those shots. Teams are going to let RJ take all those shots. So all you're doing is you're moving you're moving Randle to the bench, where granted he could take advantage of bad fours. Like, I agree. But again, talk about the 2020, the year of me saying things that if I heard myself at some, I'd be like, really? And yet I'm going to say it. Elfrid Payton is the one point guard that kind of reels Randle in. Like, here's the thing about Elfrid Payton. He dictates the offense. Like Dennis Smith Jr., the biggest issue with him hasn't been a shot or turnovers. I don't even know if he's turned the ball over yet. Probably once or twice. Certainly not his defense. Defense has been good. He's not getting the team into his offensive sets. The team is like it's almost as if there is no point guard out there when he's running the show. And Frank, lots of nice things, tons of good things, but I'm not sure we're seeing Frank get the team into its offense.
Well, I also don't think he really has the opportunity. And this isn't me trying to give Frank an excuse. It's more that every moment in game one that Frank was on the court, he was partnered with
Dennis Smith Jr. tonight.
And tonight, when I thought he finally had an opportunity to take the reins, quickly then took on ball, reins. So it seems like the role is very clear on what they want Frank to be. They want him to be an off-ball defensive specialist.
Yeah, but not to get sidetracked, but is that really that unfair of them? And again, Frank has been their best young player aside from RJ Barrett over the first two games. He's been very nice, but at the same time, he's got a couple traveling calls where it literally was he was not guarded. He just took a step too soon or whatever the case may be. There was a possession tonight that sticks in my head where the defenders, I think it was Killian Hayes or someone's playing 5 feet off him and he's going like side to side and he's just like, I don't know. I was texting Spencer tonight and Spencer's like, Frank is the ideal point guard to run a team if you have like a Luka, like whatever Luka is, another guy at another position who could essentially run the show, right?
High usage, versatile.
Exactly. Make the right pass, take the ball. Well, guess what? We don't fucking have that guy, and he ain't coming through the door anytime soon. So it begs the question of like, okay, so what do you do with Frank? And like, yes, he ran the second unit more than admirably last year. I don't know that that's the drum I'm going to bang this year is like give Frank the chance to run the second unit, as a point guard. My point is I think Elfrid Payton deserves to be the starting point guard of this team, and it might be in their best interest for him to be the starting point guard of this team, which again goes completely in the face of everything I said a minute ago of trying to increase the spacing as much as possible for RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin, which is I don't envy the decisions that Tom Thibodeau has. It's when it comes down to it. It's like guys needed to come into this year a little better, and maybe it happens, but through two fake games, if you look at Dennis Smith Jr. and you look at Kevin Knox, and even if you look at Mitchell Robinson, I'm not sure we're seeing like, oh, that dude looks like a different guy after whatever he just did for the last 9 months. The only guy that we could say that about a little bit now is RJ Barrett. And granted, that's the most important guy. And if there was one guy you could be like, if anybody we could say that about, I want it to be RJ. So that's good news. But one of these other guys needs to come forth and be like, yes, I am also taking the reins.